Okay, folks, happy Saturday morning. So we're going to do kind of a shift here. We're going to wrap up what we were doing last night, which isn't much, and then we're going to shift gears to the other bad guys of the Eastern Front, the Joymans, and I have one of their models I've had a very long time and have not finished it. I'm not really sure why. It's not. It's a very attractive vehicle. It's a Panzer 4 F2 from Hasegawa, and it's in Panzer Gray. So we're gonna try to finish that up. I got a return roller that's missing, and I don't know why that discouraged me. I'm not worried about it. I could come up with it later, but anyhow, we're gonna try to finish that thing up. It's been sitting there waiting in the wings for a while. Okay, so the T-34s, doing the black wash on these. There was one left, right? This guy. Yeah, see this got pretty stiff because this part back here still has the wash in it. So we're gonna remove that by using some hand sanitizer. You want those bristles to move freely. Every paint behaves a little differently. And this Nuln Oil, for instance, is really thin, but it's slightly different material than a regular paint. It'll dry on there even while you're using it. One thing you want to do is after you do that, make sure you neutralize it in water. As you put, this hasn't happened to me, but I bet if you put new paint on it, it'd break it away if there's still some on there. Let's put these somewhere it's a little bit more accessible. All right. So let's just remove the turret. Now this has one of those boxes. The box of sand. Or dirt or... You put those on the side of your vehicle so the Germans, when they hit you, they can pound sand. Did I forget? I was thinking I forgot to do maybe I forgot to do this on the back. I was kind of rushed last night. I don't know that I don't know. Let me give this one a once over. Make sure that this has got. So we're already touching these again. I don't think I finished this one completely. Oh well, that's what happens when you get rushed. Kind of crude. I was gonna say the build quality, but I don't think that really applies in this case. Keep it down over there. um, the casting and engraving quality on this in a couple places is really pretty substandard. It's not terribly so, but maybe if all my vehicles look like that, it'd probably be okay. But you got something even like this Asagawa kit next to it, just blows that away. Yeah, that one's been black lined. But still, these are much better than another manufacturer that I have. And sometimes, you think you got a good deal on something, and then you look back and you go, maybe I'd just mark this one off as like, I just don't want to even fool with this. And that's those BP cast vehicles that I got at the convention a couple weeks ago. I don't think I'm gonna mess with them. They have so many bubbles. It's incredibly an incredible amount of bubbles. I'm not going to fill them. I'm not going to spend I'm not going to spend tens of hours filling those vehicles. Not filing, filling. And at the end of the day, the details are pretty worn out. I'm up for a challenge, but I tell you what, I'll make the final decision when I get that 3D printed stuff. And these rear grates on here, they look much better than the ones from SHQ. The SHQ is a much better model. These actually look really good. Nice crisp divider between them. They just lack detail, but other than that, they're okay. These I don't regret getting because this is just something that's just not available anymore. Where am I gonna get this many T-34s? Like $4 a piece. It's kind of like a pretty vivid green now that I'm looking at it compared to this one. That's the base colors of a Yeho Russian. Whatever it's called. Russian green, I think is what it's called. There we go. Not that these looked bad before, but they look better with this washing. I was actually surprised to find that the Tamiya panel liner is almost exactly the same color as this, but more watery. Or, thinner, not really watery at all, because it's not a water-based product, but painting details where there aren't any, or they're very faint. There we go. Yeah, it looks like there was some kind of a panel line there, but it's pretty thin. Much better. almost done. All right, we're done with that. We did the back there. This looks like a fume extractor from the turret. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get these off my table, because these have already been sealed previously. And then we got all these completed. And man, they're heavy. They're really, really heavy. And even though they're not on bases, I like how they look on bases. I just don't like the process of putting them on bases. It's tedious. But it protects them. All right, so let's bring its cousin out here. Let's bring that Mark IV's cousin out here. Two cousins. That's one. The other one is this one. All right. So this was one of the first vehicles that I painted when I did my Germans. And it's I want to say it's an old Nito model. Nito. I might have that wrong. It might be something else, but I got it already pre-made. It was painted some brown type color. I can't tell where it is, but This is one that I got from an estate sale already pre-done, so I've refurbed this thing. And it's got the brown camouflage, experimental camouflage that they used in 1942. It's one of the colors. They did some of those, and they did some sand yellow stuff as well. So this vehicle is going to be the same as this one. I mean, I'm not going to put the camouflage on. There's not going to be any camouflage on it. But it's the same type of vehicle. So, and this one doesn't have black lining. So let's do that. Let's do that and see how good we can get that going. And this is the same model as this one. This just has a short 75. And then we'll roll in doing that. And that way we'll do a little bit of both. We'll do a little bit of refurb. Now this is an old model in such that some of these things that would normally be recesses are actually raised. I guess it's more difficult to do to recess things. So this being an older model, I'm gonna actually dust this a little bit. Let me actually get something that's a little bit softer than that. This one. It just looked like it was dusty, but I guess it wasn't. Let's see how we can get on with this. And this isn't as the same as like, oh, just give it a black wash all over, because there's some parts I don't want any darker. Yeah, this is probably one of the first gray vehicles I refurbed. Not refurb, but one of the first ones that I painted up. I figured, well, I don't have anything to lose. This thing did not look very good when I got it. And this is kind of a tedious process, but I think it's well worth it. And if it's not dark enough for you, go over it again to make it stand out. Gonna be one of them slow ass mornings, huh? Nobody here but me and those bots. It's a big difference, especially up close. Let me see if I can. Where is my phone? Oh, down here. If I didn't feel like crowded, I could probably get one of those things you can attach here to put your phone there. The next thing you know, I'm working in the corner like this, like getting carpal body. See if this gets the point across. So look at the detail that's around the hatches in the front and the detail that's around the rear engine deck, and you'll see the difference between adding the black lining, the pin washing. I don't know if this comes out really well on here, but it's subtle. But if you get close, you can tell the difference. It just needs an outline. And the one at the front might actually be more realistic looking, because if you look at pictures of a real vehicle, they don't stand out. Like people that paint these tanks, that do models, they stand out more than a real model of a tank. You go to some museum or some place where they got a Sherman just sitting around, and you don't notice all that kind of detail, but it's just kind of subtle. You could tell that there was some kind of details that were here on the actual model. This is not covered in paint. It does have 2 layers of paint, but the paint's not that thick. But if you look at that hatch, that's the driver and the assistant driver's hatch has like a pistol port stuck in the front. You can see it here. Like a round little pistol port where you could just, open the flap and shoot out of it, I guess, if you needed to. And it's just barely visible there. So we're going to see if we can make that pop a little bit. If not, we'll just move on. This is one of these that I picked up for $1. Have you ever tried the brown blotches over Panzer Gray camouflage? Yeah, this has it. Yep, I just lightened up the brown blotches a little bit so it stands out a little bit. It's been faded in the sun, but that's what this one has. Hey, Hoffman. Welcome back. Where you been? You haven't been here in a while, man. So, at some point, don't hold me to when I go to the Pacific, I'm probably going to go to your girlfriend's land. I think I'm going to do Philippines. And I'm going to do Philippines 44. More than likely. I think that that's probably the place. First of all, not a lot of people do that. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I was eyeing palm trees and pictures of the Philippines. And I was looking at a lot of the pictures of the Philippines. And I was thinking, if my dad was still alive, he'd probably say that a lot of it looked like Cuba. And I think he's right. I mean, not everywhere, but, some places, they got the same kind of palm trees. And I was looking at palm trees. Okay, how am I going to do palm trees? And I think I can pull it off. They do enough Pacific stuff. And they actually make Filipino gorilla figures. So, all in time. All possible because I don't do DBA. Yeah, your schedule has been opposite. If you end up doing Philippines 44, let me know the interesting stuff you find. I don't know too much about it. I don't either. And that's what excites me about it. Is, this book I picked up, I'm not doing a very good job of reading on my free time. I've read like half of a chapter of it, and it looks like it's got a lot of detail. I just flipped it and bam, I'm in the Philippines. Luzon. Yeah, but I have a feeling a lot of the Japanese tanks that were on the Philippines in 44 were used as emplacements. Hey Ben, what's happening? Make sure to do some mangrove trees. Well, only if I can find some stuff. Only if I can find trees for them. I mean, you can only do so much. Um, you know, you got to have palm trees. I got to be able to use the ones I have for double duty. Let me show you my Amazon shopping cart. I like putting things here and then not buying them. And tell you some of the stuff I have in mind, and maybe it'll inspire you to. I got to be careful, man. I'm inspirational to some of you guys, and I don't want to throw stuff on you and pull you in too many different directions. But as long as you're working on something, it doesn't really matter. Like I'm always working on something. So even if it's not towards the goal of a certain game, I don't care. I'm working towards something. This is $15.99. And this is an assortment of trees. And I'm not going to buy them from Temu or AliExpress and none of that shit. I don't want them to have my credit card information. But the thing is, the secret is the height. I'm going to have to repaint them, any of them. The secret is the height. I don't think I'm going to do these individually. I think I'll do them in, they're probably going to look like this. So you're going to have to repaint the base and the trunks and stuff like that. But that looks pretty decent. And I know there's all kinds of different palm trees, but this is, if you order trees, you got to make sure you look at this. Got to make sure what that it makes sense what the heights of them are. So like, if you're looking at, you got some that are an inch and 7/8. That's pretty damn short. But there are baby palm trees. But you need to get some, 3, 4 inches. And they've got these pricks on the bottom, which I guess you can stick them in something. I was watching a video where a guy that was using pieces of cork and make them into groups like that. But a lot of the Pacific terrain, like bamboo, I don't know how to do bamboo, but bamboo is basically impenetrable. You got a group of bamboo, and like you want to get through that, you better fire some 75 millimeter HE. Here's another group of 15 pieces. And there's some really crap ones. Like, I don't like the ones that have like 2 palm trees coming out of the same trunk, because the problem is like you have like 30 trees and they're all exactly the same. So you're gonna have to mess with them. Yeah, those look pretty decent. Just have to order like one and just see how much, and just see how what kind of work I need to do to get them up to where they need to be. And then the problem is going to be the grass. So this looks pretty interesting to kind of intersperse in between the other palm trees. And it's an inch and 1.3 inches, but that includes the stem. So if this is an accurate representation, it's probably like 3/4 of an inch tall from here to that end, and that's probably okay. I'm not saying everything that way, but there's some, that might be all right. I just need to order some of this stuff when I get ready for it, and then just see if I can doctor it up. But I think the Philippines is the way to go. I think the Philippines is the way to go. Ferns are everywhere too. But the Spanish-American wargamers have plenty of doing double duty. I don't know if there's that many people doing Spanish-American war. That JB MDF guy on eBay and Facebook is doing some 20 millimeter Spanish style buildings in resin that look great. They're full interiors too. JB MDF. Well, the Spanish Manila, I mean, other than like the shacks, like the big, like the actual government buildings, but Manila got leveled. Again, something I don't know about. I looked at some. There's a couple guys that do some Manila buildings, but I don't know that I'm going to get into Manila street fighting, although I think the Japanese would work well to have as an enemy. Ferns are everywhere too. There's been a rise in critters coming in packages from those dodgy Chinese sites. A live scorpion came in someone's package last week. Huh. Well, the problem with the dodgy Chinese site is, let's get down to the reality of it, okay? A lot of this stuff is made in China, and I don't personally have a problem with Chinese people, and a lot of people there are just trying to survive. But the government just, it's like if you go and you send money to, like, people that send money to their relatives in Cuba, for instance, the government's taking a take on it. Hell, the government takes a take when you send money to Mexico, if you have family over there. Workers come here and they send their money to Mexico and they take, I don't know, 40% or something from it, right? So China's taking it, whatever, and they're treating their people like slaves. But buying the Chinese stuff, there's all kinds of stuff that's made in China. Like a lot of the stuff here these are probably made in China, okay? But they're not bought through somebody who has your credit card information. Like, what if they just like take all your money? What are you gonna do? Borrow a nuke from the U.S. government and nuke them till you get your credit card information back? I mean, you have no recourse. So, 1/3000 scale ships for Spanish-American War. My dad always had an interest in that war because, well, he's from that island. But I find that war extremely unbalanced. And like I've said before, I don't really enjoy playing Americans because I already am one. But man, my stomach's noisy this morning. But I think that's what I'm going to do. But I gotta get through that book. The problem is that I just don't have a lot of opportunities to read. You know, I could be reading right now, but I'm doing this instead. I could read at lunchtime, but I've been coming home for lunch. So by the time I drive here and then put my lunch together and have it, there's like no time left. And I haven't had a lot of quiet time at lunch lately. Let's put it that way. We got, okay, will you keep it down? Jesus. You didn't like what I had for breakfast, I guess. Just grumbly. But yeah, I don't know much about the Pacific War, but that's an appeal to me, because I don't have to have the whole battle or the whole campaign doesn't have to be balanced if I'm doing little battle vignettes. I could do a battle vignette where it has a lot of, you could be like a scenario with Iwo Jima or something like that, where the Japanese are not in an advantage, and have a scenario where they are in this advantage. So, you need to look at it like that. We kind of with a microscope kind of thing. JBMDF stuff. He has improved a lot since he started. Interesting to see how his resin stuff turns out. You can hear that. Yeah, it's stomach. It's not intestinal. Sorry, I'm not going to. Sorry to disappoint you, but it's not going to cause me to shit my pants. It's just like gas. Gas in the stomach. I pretty much ate the same thing I eat every morning. More or less. JB? What's the name of his company? JBMDF. JBMDF. Let's just do a search for that, see if I get it. JBMDF products. That's what it's called. Okay, well, I'm like, man, you guys must be leaving some letters off of it. No, apparently you're not. JBMDF. I've never seen this stuff before. I hope you guys don't get me into fucking trouble. Famous last words. This JBMDF stuff looks interesting for 6mm stuff. 3D printed craters. You motherfuckers, you're going to get me in trouble. Those look pretty good. 28mm scale. I'll be the judge of that. Ooh, I've never seen this before. Adobe Desert or rural Russia. Maybe if you're doing Russia like Silk Road. Let's see what his shipping's like. Oh, it's for you British people. Damn you guys and your shipping. I know, it's not your fault. Blame the U.S. Postal Service. They're a bunch of assholes, anyways. Rubble set. What was I looking yesterday that I almost pulled the trigger on? God, what was the name of that company? But he made like a destroyed Russian house for like $7. But, you know, if I'm going to buy Russian buildings, which I don't have any, really, other than these city ones, I guess they could double as Russian buildings, but I think all my Russian buildings are going to be destroyed. You know, with scorched earth, with scorched earth and all that. You know, there's not going to be any built. They're not going to leave any buildings just standing. I often pick up his MDF offcuts and bases. I don't like those 28 millimeter craters. There's too many 3D printed lines on them. Well, we'll have to look at them. I left them. I left them on there. JBMDF. Well, I'm gonna have my hands full with this 3D printer thing that I got. He's domestic, and if he does a good job, we're gonna be putting his ass to work. Now he doesn't do buildings, and I'm not gonna ask him to do something he doesn't do. Like he does vehicles, and he's got lots of examples of different vehicle designers on there. So, you know, the same reason you don't want to come on here and say, "Hey, Tony, can you show us how to paint a Warhammer guy?" I'm not going to paint Warhammer. There's lots of people that paint Warhammer stuff on there, and frankly, I'm not going to say they do a better job than me, but but they should because they have experience doing that. So, I'm not going to get into that stuff. But the only thing this guy did, this was a 28 millimeter guy, or 156th, or so he said he could resize it. So we will see. But if his stuff looks good, some of this trash I picked up recently, I probably won't even mess with. It's not worth my time. But hey, you know, even I make bad decisions sometimes, so we'll see how it plays out. All he's got to do is do work that's equivalent to what the pictures that he has on his site. And I'll give you all that information on who it is and whatever when I get his stuff. It's supposed to be here on Wednesday. So, stay healthy until then. It's already in the mail, working its way here, so. Yeah, I'd never heard of JBMDF. Now I'm starting to think, who the heck was it that did that? Anyways, it was like a $7 Russian house or whatever. Yeah, and I'm actually okay with some of the 3D print lines on vehicles, but if you can get them from somebody who doesn't have them, you know, my end result is going to look a lot better if the people that make the casting did their job better. It takes just as much time, or maybe even less, to paint something that's a good model as opposed to something that you need to retrofit and fix up. So, yeah, that rear deck is looking a lot better. Or the rear, I like the rear deck. I like the deck in the rear. And it's very faint detail on this thing, but like I wouldn't buy one of these. Yeah, resin 3D. Yep. I think he said 4 or 8K. I don't know. There's pictures of this stuff that. Yeah, ya basta. So he's got on his website like 6 different manufacturers or 6 different designers. It's probably the correct way to say it. 6 different designers, and I've got stuff coming from 4 of them. So I can look at it and go, okay, well, this is my favorite of them. So I'm going to get everything that I can from this that I want from this particular designer and not use one from this other one. So we will see. But I'm not going to get anything from them that like Plastic Soldier Company makes. Because Plastic Soldier Company, like I like their stuff. So whenever I need to get honeys, for instance, I'm not going to buy any honeys other than the Plastic Soldier Company honeys. Because they're almost about the same price, and I don't mind putting them together, especially Plastic Soldier Company stuff. That's like a breeze. The 3D printers are getting crazy with their details. My new one, which still haven't messed with, is 4K, and that was only $240. Well, I mentioned this last night. I would do it, but if I'm doing 3D printing stuff, I'm not painting. So I need to sub some of the stuff out because I have a limited amount of. I have a lot of free time. Seems like it. You know. I'm. People go, oh man, how do you have so much time to paint? I said, well, I don't watch television. How much time do you watch television and take that and spend it in painting? And you could find time to. How much relaxing time do you have? And I have even more if I didn't film, because I could just be like, hey, I got 15 minutes. Let me do a little bit of painting. But the problem is if I just paint for 15 minutes, I'm very susceptible to go to thinking about something, stopping to go look that up, and not getting any painting done. Whereas here, I'm kind of forced to do this for a while. And that's forced is probably the wrong word for it because it sounds like it's painful. But no, I get on here. I don't want to leave. You guys are on here and we're having a chat, and it takes a while sometimes for you guys to show up, and I don't want to just piss that away. So as long as it takes me to paint each thing, it's pretty cost effective. But we'll see. His vehicles run about $10 to $12 a piece, or so. So we'll see how it goes. But it's a lot cheaper than M10s. Say I want some M10s, and I have an M10 coming. Okay, M10 tank destroyer, and I want 4 of them. I can buy the kits, which I don't mind putting together, but they take time to put together, and they're like $30 a piece. So I'm not spending $120 on it. Where you can cut that almost in a third. And in many cases look better. Just have to see how the durability is on them. I told him, I said, I'm going to do an unboxing. I have a YouTube channel. Don't send me any garbage. I didn't put it that way. I'm telling them, hey, don't send me any shit because it's going to make you look bad. I don't make people look bad. That's on them, But I don't want to get into 3D printing myself. I just don't have the personality type for it. I don't want the disappointment. Yeah, I could 3D print, but okay, it's going to cut into me. So what am I willing to give up to not 3D print? Never play a war game, or not paint, or cut my painting in half. I'm like, I can't do it. Whenever I'm done with this, I'm always in a good mood, and I'll guarantee that whenever I'm done 3D printing, and maybe my wife asks me to do something, I'm in the middle of something. That's just going to cause frustration. So I don't need that. Let the pros do that. Sounds a bit like the Yelp review episode of South Park. I wouldn't know. My brother's a big fan of South Park, but I tried watching a couple of the episodes and didn't really do anything for me. I get distracted when a cartoon has art that's really bad. Oh, it's supposed to be that way. Okay, Picasso. I just expect more from people that do, that do their cartoonists. I'm not going to mess with that one. We're going to roll into that one. It's like I'm never going to get anything done. I mean, I don't mind doing this, but it's like, okay, this is taking a while. This is taking a bit of time. I came across something. How many 3D prints do you have to do to break even with your stuff? I think that all of it is pretty inexpensive. It's time and frustration. Maybe if I was retired and single, I just don't want a hobby to put me in a bad mood. And like I said, it's going to come out of somewhere, so it'll end up coming out of my painting time. And I don't want to cut corners painting just to have time to do 3D printing. So let the pros do that. It's a little better. This thing doesn't have a lot of deep details to begin with. So I pulled out the Tamiya panel liner last night and did like one little line, and it looks just as dark as this. So why even use it? I mean, unless you want that turpentine like stink, the stank. All right. So this thing's been waiting in the wings a long time. This just has, actually, this one was a long time ago. This one was actually primered Panzer Gray. This is actually one that I started working on 20 years ago. and I painted the whole thing Panzer Gray. And when I went back to it 2 years ago, I went ahead and went over it again with a brown wash. I think it has a brown wash in it. Yeah, it does. And then dry brushed the Panzer Gray on top of it again with a little bit of that blue. So that's where we're at right now. We need to paint Road Wheel Hell, and I'll leave this on here for now. We'll paint Road Wheel Hell, and then we can do the decaling and the weathering. So this one's just going to be Panzer Gray with weathering on it. Somewhere in Army Group South. Case of Blau. All right, you're going to get going. Got to go grocery shopping for your mother's birthday today. I'll catch you later. Man, you're starting early. You don't want to encounter anybody. Okay. Let's put this away. We don't want this to evaporate any more than it has to. All right. This should work fine. Let's get some black out here. Oh, there's no way I can see all the way out there without glasses. I'm just feeling around. Well, here's some clean water. I've given up on using the Flow Aid. It just dilutes the pigment too much. I'll start to use that as a crutch anyways. It's got its purposes, but I don't really even need it for lettering. Good Lord. Is it empty? Do we have another one? I bet I hope I do. See the stash of hidden colors down here. Yep. Not ready to throw that one away yet. Alright, we don't want to use that brush. We don't want to use that one either. That one's actually not very good. Is it this one? Yeah, this is good for road wheels. And every time I do this, I'm wondering, am I wasting my time doing this? Because you end up covering this over with weathering, and it's not that unpleasant an experience. So the hobby store last weekend at Encounter had a model of one of these. $20. I'm like, that's not a good value. First, I don't need one. Second of all, it's not a good value. If it had been $10, I'd have bought every one they had there. I bought every fucking model they had in the place. It was in a flea market, but it was like a legitimate store in a flea market. They're just doing that to keep their costs down, I'm sure. but they had more 1/72nd scale tank models I'd seen anywhere other than that place in Calgary. That place is incredible. Century Box or whatever it's called. And yes, this has rubber band track. But it's actually pretty decent. The only rubber band track that I've really had a problem with is the one that came with the Eschi Panzer IV, the Frankenpanzer. Their Mark IV tries to cover everything and covers nothing. It's got all kinds of issues as far as accuracy are concerned. But it's actually one of my favorite models. You know, the way it turned out, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's see, all these return rollers. Make sure these are okay. That one's missing one, which totally could happen in real life. Yeah, I looked at the old some of the old V for Victory game, which I guess you could play them on DOSBox or whatever. I don't know that you could save them though, but you could play them online. You got all the units that had the and that took place in the Wintergewitter scenario. Although we're not doing this in snow camouflage. We're not there yet. We got to practice with the Russians first. Well, I got to finish up with this martyr and see how that ends up turning out. I think I could probably make something happy and be happy with it, but I think I'm gonna try a T-34 first because this thing has so many. It has enough bubbles and it's missing rivets that I think it's not gonna look the best it can, and it's gonna give me this idea that the snow camouflage doesn't really look very good no matter what I do to it. But I think a lot of that is going to be due to the fact that that particular model is throwing me off and making it look like it's not very good when it's really the problem with that model. So we'll probably do a T-34 model 1941 in the white camo. and see what it looks like. But I can't do that until everybody wakes up so I can go to the garage and work on the drum. Well, maybe I'll do a session out there. I don't know. I really don't like doing this off camera because it's hard sometimes to stay on track unless I'm running my mouth, I guess. Even though you guys aren't posting stuff all the time, the fact that there's some interaction is better than not at all. So I left these T34s out here. We haven't done a Panzer Gray vehicle in a little bit, so. And this thing's been waiting forever. But waiting to get shot up by a T-34. Anything that has to be black on here before the weathering? I don't think so. All right, then we'll grab a soda, and then we can get the weathering colors out here. And oh, I gotta figure out what the markings I'm gonna do on here is. And before that, I gotta put the gloss on where the markings go. All right. Well, let's make sure that this is semi-dust free. All right, where's my gloss coat? I wish this one had the turret hatch open, but I guess if I want one, I'll just buy another. I'll get another one. Stuff smells actually pretty good. Pledge floor care. I think it's damn near impossible to find now. I bought it a while ago. Ooh, this has never been used and it's in bad shape. There we go. All right. So even if we don't use these spots, this doesn't have to be super thick either. We're going to do the back here. Side of the hole. Little spot here. That's usually where the Balkenkreuzes go. Nothing else on here. Now the turret. Back at the turret. I don't know where I'm going to put the numbers. I'm not a fan of the numbers going over this. The little side things, but I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole thing. Just in case. It's unlikely I will do that. Okay, that's it. Mark IV Special, as you Brits like to call them. So while that's drying, we'll go ahead and do the tracks, because the tracks are going to have to dry. Let's make a mess with the tracks. Actually, I wonder if I could use helping hands for some of it. I bet I probably can. Thank you. Wow. Jumpy. Oh, who's this? Oh, I have another one of these guys? Where's the guy with the flowers? Is he up here? Well, let's not get sidetracked. We're not painting a tank crew right now. As well as that last tank commander turned out. I was really happy with how he turned out. So I'm going to clip this here. Let's bring these in. I don't really need this under tension. I just want to see if I can paint this in a way that I don't get all of the paint all over me. And of course we're using SS Camel Black, or whatever the hell it's called now. And a brush that we can be sloppy with. Because this is going to take some time to dry. This will dry in no time. You know how they say you're not supposed to use the brush and the cap, the paint and the cap? Well, this is just going to get thrown away because it's got too much slop in there. So let's put a little tension on there. I don't know if this is even necessary. By the time I end up dry brushing the other two colors, I'm going to be able to tell. Well, let's follow my own advice. Yeah, there's going to be a little space that's not going to have paint on there. It's okay. It'll live. Let's see what happens here. And the other one, same thing. Didn't have to use a staple on these yet. worry about adding extra details to the tank later. I don't sweat all that stuff. Not with these models I've already had. They're lucky they're getting finished. Okay. So that can be rinsed out. Well, I don't want to throw that paint away. So we'll just we'll slap it back in there. Okay, now this should be dry enough. Let's look at some photos. Let's look at some some books. Although they're kind of difficult to reach right now. So probably what I should do today at some point is organize this stuff. All right, I got a couple of books I haven't looked at a whole lot. I don't even need to look at these. I can just totally wing this, but you got to use these books for something. And then a couple of Osprey ones here. I haven't looked at a whole lot. Oh shit. Shouldn't have laid this like that. Bent the corner on the Panther book. Good thing I got two of them. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pick up this room. It's getting out of the closet really getting a little out of hand. This ought to do it right here. Yeah, I need to transfer all my DBA armies up on top of this closet. They're not going to be touched anytime soon. All right. Let's start off with the one I'm probably going to use, likely to use the least. I really don't know how this is organized. All Guild, yeah, we're on the other end. Okay, this is First Panzer Division. Okay, so here's one that has a green overspray, 412 on it. It's a little 412. I got little numbers there, and it has it above the little peephole. That'd be pretty small numbers if I can pull that off. You can always hand paint if it comes down to it. I mean, I prefer not to hand paint the German numbers. They're almost always stenciled. That's an option. I'm not going to do the green overspray. I want this one to be gray. Okay, Second Panzer. Not that I'm going to make them for any particular unit. Oh, and Balkenkreuzes. Let's see. This particular one, I personally like them with a center black. This one has the center black. Oh, and it has it over the vision port. I'm not going to put it there. I've got this huge area to put on the side there that normally like the spare wheels would go on, but that particular model didn't have them on there, so that's just right for putting it there. Third. Yeah, see these big red numbers over that side port, that's hard to pull off. That's hard to pull off and make it look okay. Africorps is famous for putting that stuff on there. I like the yellow numbers, but think I have any. I could just put white ones and repaint over them in yellow. It's not like I can't do that. Use another green overspray. That's a 5th with the little devil figure. Here's like this tank improvised disruptive camouflage, give you broad stripes, lime whitewash. Yes, this Panzer III looks good. This is a good looking Panzer III. It's got to be like an H. No, it's a J. Okay, it's a J1, the first series of them. This 3D printer goes great. I'm probably going to order some Czech 35s. And I'll probably put 6th Panzer Division markings on them. Because that's what they're for. And that initial drive in Barbarossa. I guess I could use them for France as well. I'm not too interested in breaking into the France stuff just yet. You can get spread too thin. Panthers here and there. Schwere Panzergruppe Baka. Check 38s. This is a cool vehicle. I don't know how many they made of these things. You got this heavy half-track with an 88 mounted on there. And they used them in France. I don't know if they used them after that, but that's pretty cool. 19th Heavy Panzerjäger Battalion attached. See, when you've got a vehicle that's got 4 digits on it, like this one's 1003, now this is like a command vehicle for the 10th Company. So this is an overstrength Panzer Division. Usually they go up to 8. If they have more than 8 as the first number, then it's an overstrength Panzer Division. It's got 3 battalions in it. I do captured vehicles. You got a lot of little like Kampfgruppe little stuff in here, which is really what I thought was really interesting about this book. Ideas for. I don't really want it for the Panzer Division stuff. I got Panzer colors for that. Okay, what's this? 10th Panzer. These seem to have hollow numbers. Hollow white numbers. Here's the 10th Panzer Division stuff that went to Tunisia. '11th. The Ghost, as opposed to the Ghost Division. The Ghost Division is the 7th Panzer. That's the one that Rommel commanded in France. And it would disappear and appear somewhere else. But there's the actual 11th that used like this little Spectre. A Spectre on wheels. Small yellow numbers. I don't think I've got any of those left. The Hasegawa kits are good, but they don't give you a lot of extra decals. '14th Panzer. Yeah, so like, see this 14th Panzer Division. This gives you kind of an idea. This is kind of cool. It tells you like this particular unit, 36th Panzer Regiment, had 14 Panzer twos, 41 short barrel Panzer threes. You have to decide whether they're G's, H's, or short J's or what have you. 19 Panzer threes with a long barrel. This would have been in June 42, so they'd all probably be J's. I don't think that L's had come out yet in June 28. They might have had one or two of them. 24 Panzer IV Kurtzes, so the ones with the short 75. No Panzer IV longs, at least in June. The ones that tended to get the long barreled threes and the long barreled fours were either the Panzer Grenadier divisions, so like Viking, Grossdeutschland, when they ended up getting a full battalion, they're the ones that ended up getting those vehicles like priority wise. And those are like elite divisions anyway. So even though they're Panzer Grenadier divisions, they tended to have some of the newer equipment. Anything that was up north that had not gone into Fall Blau, the stuff that was left around Leningrad, Rzhev, those tended to not get the long barreled, or take longer for the long barreled ones to come to them. Yeah, this is in southern Russia. This one has the yellow, which is not Dunkelgelb, it's a different type of color. But we're not doing one of those. Here's a German half track with no numbers on it. No battalion company numbers on it. 15th Panzer, of course, it was in Russia, in North Africa the whole time. I'm not sure what happened after the desert. Yeah, the old spade there. 16th Panzer, 1112 Marquis. There's a Flampanzer with some unique type of brown camouflage smudged on there. Might have been mud. '18th, yeah, these were the ones that had the little funny. Um, it says stylized representation of the sea, recalling the division's origin as an amphibious assault unit. This was one of the divisions that was going to invade England. Had some amphibious type tanks. The M's. There's a Flampanzer 2. Flamingo. Not a lot of F2s in here. Big frickin' numbers. I'm not a fan of the 21st Panzer Division. I'm not. I don't like a symbol. It looks like a big D. Yeah, here's one in the desert. Don't care about the desert ones right now. It's weird to see a Czech. It's weird to see a Czech 38 in yellow. 24th. It's one of the ones that was stuck in Stalingrad with a leaping horse. It's got very squished numbers there on the turret. Figure-atively. Okay, and it's not going to be in the later ones. Okay, well that wasn't very useful. What else do we have here? I'm just going to look at the color plates. I'm going to be lazy and just do that. Okay, here's a color. This photograph shows two Panzers. They head into action. Near one is a Panzer IV F2, soon designated in Aus G, mounting the newly issued. It was first globular first Panzer. Both are from 5th Company of the Panzer Regiment's 2nd Battalion. Note the white outline tactical numbers. On the rear face, the turret-mounted baggage bin. Both Panzers have ample extra stowage, including apparently a part from a Soviet tank, the half-cylinder on the fender of the Panzer IV. Okay, so this has hollow white numbers, so that looks like a way to possibly do. I bet I have some of those. Hollow whites. Not my favorite, but oh, here's hollow whites. Of course, it's got a little bit of yellow overspray. Hollow whites there. With the Balkenkreuz with black in the center. I think that's what I want to do. It looks good in the snow. Alright, I'm not going to look any further. That's what we're going to do. Well, I just allowed time for those to dry. So let's look at my German decals. See if we have any hollow white numbers. I'm sure we do. Okay, this is from the Hummel, so those will probably explode. This is the one that it comes from with the Hasegawa one. That's the 423 that I put on this one. Whether you have the Panzer IV, whether you have the F1, the F2, or the G, which I don't have the model of the G, they all have the same decal. Kind of lacking. I mean, I could take these yellow ones and flip them around. So this 423 can be 234 or, what have you. Don't need to do that right now. Nope, those have black in the center. Nope. Also no black in the center, which I like black in the center. It's just not what we're doing right now. German reconnaissance set. Nope. There's that 555, and it's white numbers, but not on the side like that. Nope. Nope. We're going to need the Balkenkreuzes for these. Nope. Teeny tiny numbers. If I decide to go that route, we'll leave those there. Okay, here's the micro scale ones, and they have solid white, the white outline ones. Set that off to the side. Nope, no license plates. Nope. 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 classic always. Probably get another F1 at some point and use those same yellow numbers and just flip them around. Make them look like they're some kind of a team. Okay, these are from Petting House, and Petting House sucks, so we're not using them. These are supposedly the 1/72nd scale, but they're huge. These are 1/87th scale numbers, so they're even smaller than the other ones. I think we'll be able to get on with those. These decals were actually really good, the ones that came with the S model. Unfortunately, all the yellow numbers ended up being orange. So, color matching issues in China. Don't need those right now. Nothing what we're looking for there. Nope. 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 No. All right, let's see what we're left with. And let's look at this turret. I can't fit those smaller hollow numbers underneath the vision slot. And a G does not have that little pop-up, which is a weak point in the turret. Which is one of the reasons they did away with it. Yeah, so this one's technically a G, whereas this one's an F2. Let's look at the side of the hull here. I don't like these thin ones. Okay, so we're going to need two of these. Put one at the back too. We'll take out three. These decals are actually very good. The Skytrex ones are very good. Let's just go ahead. We got water in here, right? Yep. Let's just go ahead and drop these in. Start doing your thing. And then we're done with this. What's that one? 531? You know, I could try putting them over this. The problem is I know I'm going to have to cut them to go over this. Pretty severe. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't really want to do these. I don't have a problem doing little, but they're not the same style as these other ones. And I think mixing the styles, I think putting like 531 on the side here is small, and then doing the big ones on the back in a slightly different style is going to look offensive to me. I don't know that I've seen that, them doing one style. So let's do this. Let's hedge all our bets. All right, we're going to hedge our bets. We're going to cut one set of 531 out. and attempt to put it on the side of the tank. If I don't, on the of the turret, if I don't like how it looks, I'll pull it off and put it on the rear, and then use a small 5-through one up here. So we're just going to cut one out. 3, 1, 5. Oh. Yeah, it's going to be for rush. I'm fine with them being 5 number. Before I make that decision. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Was that one that was there? 5-3-1? Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. What are they on the side of the turret? Yeah, they go over that bloody thing. All right. I don't think I'm gonna like it. Hope I'm wrong. Microset. Does it smell like vinegar? Yep. Oh, does it? All right, but before we do that, let's go ahead and put these Balkan Kreutzes on. Let's just do one at a time. And tweezers of unusually small size. Where are you? Seems like the ones that I use all the time are these precision ones. There they are. Make sure there's no get a good purchase on these. Yeah, right there. Put it right in the center of that. Let's get a little piece of paper towel. Okay, and the other side. The plane, boss, the plane. Oh. Not the plane, the garbage truck. It's supposed to come yesterday, but the storm delayed everything else. Well, the garbage stayed out there. They'll pick it up whenever they pick it up. potato. Okay, and the last one goes on the back. We're gonna put it on this side. I'm not even gonna look and see if they put it on this side. It's going on this side. Oh, I guess I should be putting this in here already so it can start softening up. I don't care if they're right side up or not. This is a pain in the butt to do when I was a kid. Now it's like, this is a breeze. Put these on with like no tools, no tweezers. You know, when you're a kid, you don't have tweezers. Like, that's expensive stuff for adults. All right. Now, if I can pull it off with some decals, it's going to be the micro scale ones, because they're literally the best ones that I have, thinnest and so forth. So, I guess I should put the 3 down first, because this is in the middle. I know, I'm going to have to put microsol down. Well, I don't want to commit to that. Once I put the microsol down, they're stuck there. They're difficult to get off, so let's see if we even like how they look. Where's the 3? It must be this one. And these are already pre-made, so I don't have to. It's not all one decal. And put the 5 on there. I want to say it's gonna work. I have to do all kinds of stuff. I'm have to put microsol on there. I'm gonna have to put a little hole in it, and maybe in a couple different places on the clear so it'll settle well. Yeah, I don't want to have the two style numbers on there. So if I put the small 531, I got to put the small 531 in the back. Let's just roll with this. There's one I did recently that I had to cut open the decal and it worked. It turned out okay. It was one of the American stars on one of the 3D printed vehicles. Is that where I want it? I think so. That's where the 3 needs to be. See if I can move the 1 around a little bit. Because once you put the microsol down, you might as well forget it. That's where it's going to stay. Let me scooch the 1 over. And scooch the 5 over. I think that's better. Problem is that 3 looks so much smaller because it's a thick vision slot. We're gonna roll with it. I just gotta keep in mind, I don't really like the way it looks even on a real vehicle. All right, here we go. It's the point of no return. Probably a hairdryer would probably help for this. Let's go ahead and put another 531 in for the back. Let's do the other side as well. Worst case scenario, There's the 1, there's the 3, there's the 5, there's the 1, there's the 3, there's the 5. Easy. Okay, it's looking better. Like I said, I don't even like how it looks on the real vehicle, but gotta have numbers on there. It'll turn out all right. I like that better than one big number over that panel, over that thing also. Oh, did I not cut the second set out? Let me just cut them out. Let me just cut them out. And then we can be done with this decal sheet. Actually, the thing I hate the most about decals, you have all these little pieces of paper left over. Okay. So it makes it look like the 3 is significantly shorter because it's the one that's going over all the details. I think that's where it needs to be. Move the 1 a little closer. We're going to follow directions to let it dry. Not going to get ahead of ourselves. Now this one will be a piece of cake. Should be. Let's get the 3 first. shifted at the last minute. No biggie. And the 3's cocked over a little bit, too. Ever so slightly. No. No, you know what? I'm going to use a new one for this. Just for good measure. We're not going to throw this one away just yet, but let's go ahead and use a new one. And no, I'm not going to use a pen. I'm pretty sure this has got a finer point than a pen. It's pretty fine. Okay. We're going to go around the perimeter of this. Raised section. Do the same thing on the other side. Leave that alone. Let it do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and apply this over the back one too. Not that these decals are very thick. All right. Let's go ahead and close that up. And let's come back and take a look at the tracks now. Let's rinse this stuff off. Should be able to do the bottom hole. Just the turret that's going to have to wait. Okay. So what I usually do is I just grab it like this and just paint all the way around it. So I think we'll do that. Let's get the our dry brushing colors out here. Yeah, it doesn't look too impressive right now. The weathering is the key. Not dark sand. Silent watchers. Ooh, look, I got other stuff in here. I don't want the weathering over these the little blocks and the tools and stuff like that. I like them to pop out a little bit more. So we're going to use US Field Drab here. And let's get a dry brushy brush. Normally you start with the running gear. In this case, we'll start with the tracks. And let's start with the inside. Well, we're going to need more than that. And yes, they're rubber band tracks. They're decades old. I like doing the inside first, and then we'll flip both of them over. Oh, I hear people's awake. All right, flip both of these over. And same thing on the other side. And then we'll move on to the actual vehicle itself. All right, and we're going to need a little bit more than that. We're going to start with the running gear first. Probably going to need a little bit more than that also. But all of this is going to show as you look through the vehicle because there's no side skirts or anything like that. And we'll do the same on the other side. And you could make all kinds of dried mud effects and stuff like that. But that's just a good way to spend a shitload of money and spend even longer time doing this. Got to be some kind of a balance. Some point you got to say, you know, that's good enough. And likewise, the muffler. I don't like to paint the muffler and then weather over it. Not necessarily. So we do that afterwards. And then of course, that's going to be all muddy and stuff. And then back here, and Needs some, but not too much. That's probably enough. Now, I don't think I can touch this at all. No, that's way too risky. So now we'll do the Iraqi sand. This is Iraqi sand, isn't it? No, it's buff. Aha! Wouldn't have been a big difference. No, that's dark sand. That is mine Iraqi sand. No. I guess I have to put my glasses on. Let's see here. Nope. This one? Iraqi sand. Iraqi sand is a little bit more, less yellowy. You can use whatever color you want to use. It's just the one I choose to use. I'm not even going to rinse this thing out. I'm going to use this as is. I'm going to start with the running gear, the tracks. That's it, just lightly. I don't leave any metal on here. I mean, these are all bare metal tracks, but at the end of the day, they're going to rust, and then they're going to go round and round, and they're going to pick up dirt. I don't like the rusty orange ass tracks. If that's your thing, then do it that way, but not going to sell me on it. It doesn't look right to me. Okay. And there's still some of the dark color underneath it. Now, we're not doing 100% realistic model. We're not doing, cartoonish either. It's somewhere in between the two. And hopefully this track lay is relatively reasonable on the vehicle. That's how I thought it was. Yep, that's tied up. Alright, I'm not going to take any more off. We want to go kind of light on this. We want this old mud to kind of show back there. Southern Russia is a dusty ass place, or it can be. I just use red and cover it with red brick dust from Stalingrad. You've seen those terrains that have just piles and piles and piles of red dust. That's a little over the top. Might be realistic, but just a little over the top for my taste. Now, we'll put the tracks on. And we want this little V facing down, although, you know, somebody'd say, well, these aren't super realistic tracks. Well, you're right. Hold on, these have a little hole. There's a flat spot on them. I bet if that's not made to slide underneath that idler wheel. Let's see if that's that little bit of thinness. It could make a difference. And we're going to get our little tool here to help push that in. The tweezers will work fine. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the intent is. Of course, if you ever have trouble with if you have rubber band tracks that there's not enough space on there, there's a tip that you can just cut the teeth off and then they'll fit in there. I read that one time and that was really useful. Of course, you could run into a situation where the teeth are it's too tight and then you cut the teeth off and now it's too loose, but at least it fits in there. Let's see how this. I don't really mind the way that looks. You know, there's this center line all the way through it, the divider. In real life, it would be, it would be flat, but sometimes concessions are made. I don't know how much I paid for this back in the day. Maybe $12, $10, $8. I don't know. How are we looking here? I'm actually okay with the numbers. Although the three gets smaller, as I said, it's got to go over that plate, and that plate is going to, reduce the size of it. That's just one of those things that's just going to have to be. All right. Oh, I cut the things off. Okay, perfect. And there you can tell the difference of the color with the weathering and no weathering. So, and of course, it's got no black lining on it. Actually, pretty happy with how that looks. It's pretty heavy, but it's pretty dusty. Now, the turret's going to have less of that than the rest of it. All right, I'll take a little potty break. I'll be right back. Okay. See what we can get away with doing this. I think we can do it if we're just careful. Now here I just hold the end of the barrel normally. So if any of the gray rubs off, that's perfect because there's black underneath it and it'll just some of that will be showing. So let's grab some of the flat earth, which we already have some. This is very lightly what we're going to do, but it needs to tie in the turret into the rest of the hole. So we're going to start on the edges here. And this is one of these that's not going to look really good until we're done with it because with the decals they're shiny looking and that's really distracts your eye from everything else. I'm actually going to put a little bit more paint so I'm not as abrasive with it. And you can check it just by just putting it on there. Same thing there. On the bottom of the number, go all the way around. And then we'll work our way into some of these edges. And leave some room for the Iraqi sand. You don't want to like weather that so much and then man, I gotta put Iraqi sand over and then it looks too bright. Leave some room for that. Hit all these high spots that less is not more. Just more can be too much. So that's what we're looking at right now so far on this. And the number is distracting that is just deformed going over that. But it's laying pretty smooth. The problem is the 3 is just going to be smaller because it's just got to go over more. So, that's applied by a stencil. So the stencil's messed up too, when they stencil those things on there. Okay, so at this point, what we need to do is we have some items that we want to paint black. And I don't know that we have any live black. We've got some live water down there, but let's put a little bit more black and knock out those spots. We don't need to use anything really, really small, but things like the machine gun, the whole machine gun, and the coax machine gun. I just find it that's really strange that the coax machine gun is fired by the gunner, but it's on the loader's side. I guess so he can reload it. Okay, and then back here, we've got some tools. We actually are going to have to go to the smaller size one. And these could be in gray or the base color of the tank if you're doing a yellow tank, but I prefer for them to be in black because they'll be all metal colored. And that is this pry bar. The gun cleaning equipment, which we're going to go ahead and just prime it black. Some of that I believe is going to be wooden colored, and obviously not the end of it, but if you painted that first, I just have to come back and repaint it, so why even bother doing that? Okay, muffler is just a different story completely. This little wrench with the eye socket in it. The ubiquitous jack goes here. We got this axe. Only the head is metal on that. This little S hook looking thing. I believe that's a track tensioner thing. We're gonna leave the fire extinguisher the color of the tank. There's a shovel hiding underneath here. A little clip like that fits in the end. We don't want to paint that. Lots of little tools that are on here to add interest. Nothing on the turret. All right, now the jack. I normally like to paint that black or iron colored. Just for contrast more than anything else. All right. Now, while that's drying, back from your walk. The gray look is so classic, yeah. I like the way it looks. Oh man, nope. No, that's wood. That's wood. Let's not get carried away. Let's not get so excited about thinking I made a mistake. Let's use beige brown. Oh, that color works just fine too. What is that? Oh no. Beige brown. Also, sadly, I have to report the new German camo beige looks slightly different than the old one when in the bottle. New camo beige. Which color is that? And what's the manufacturer of it? Yeah, sadly they change the colors on shit sometimes. Like, you're just trying to be a dick. Because that's how you're a dick. That's how you become a dick. Changing shit on you. Oh, I guess we should not leave that attached on here. What else on here is wooden? The shovel handle, no doubt. No doubt about that. Oh, and the wooden block, of course. The ubiquitous block. Which is the block that gets put under the track and then you put the jack on it. So the jack actually works on top of that block. I'm going to darken this up a little bit more so we have an opportunity to show some wood grain or make it appear like a piece of wood. Okay, and we're going to lighten this up a little bit. Haven't used it on a model yet, so hopefully it dries the same. German camo beige. Well, the Vallejo one, which color are you using? Because the Vallejo one, I believe green ochre is the one that they want you to use. But if you use this dark yellow or whatever, it looks like ass. It's not the right color. No, that's Japan uniform, but it's like this. Dark yellow camouflage. This is a horrible looking color, but I feel like the Dunkelgelb only looks good after you freaking weather it and stuff. You got to add other colors to it. Because out of the bottle it looks like ass. And it's very greenish. But I'm not using the Vallejo for, I'm using the AK ones. But it varies so much, and then you get it right how you want it, and you take it outside and it looks completely different. It's number 103. Vallejo 103. All right, I'm going to go actually look it up here and see what it's called. Vallejo 103. German camo beige. I don't have that color. Must be a new one. M103. I wonder if the code's the same. 821. 70.821. Alright, so what is this? No, this is 978 116. What color is this one? Khaki, that's 113. Where's that green ochre? Oh, it's gold brown. 128. It's not going to be Japanese uniform. Not going to be khaki. Middlestone 118. The Middlestone from Poly S used to be. That's what you painted your British vehicles in. Jesus, how many khakis do I have? Do I still have this? It should be up here. Damn it. Why isn't that there? That should be there. The color sheet I had gotten when I got Vallejo colors a long time ago, and I printed out the catalog and I put a little swatch of the actual paint next to it, and I used that for many years. And that's where it was hanging out. It was hanging out on top of that shelf there. Now I find something I was looking for last week. Don't you hate when it happens? It happens to everybody. That's where it should be. That's where I had it. I went off and moved it somewhere. Well, who knows where the fuck it is now? 103, huh? All right, let me look on this app that I got and I don't use very often. This app is called what's it called? It's not on my front page anymore. Paint Rack. All right, let me go to Vallejo. And let's see if I can select colors that I have. Show my paint. There we go. What's the code on it? What's the 70 dot code on it? German camouflage orange ochre. Yeah, here it's 70.824. So you got a different code. There's two codes on all the paints. There's like this one's 169 and it's also 950. What's the 70 dot code on that? $78.21, okay? German camouflage beige World War II. Oh, well, you're not using that for Dunkelgelb, are you? Because that's like a Zeltbahn color. That's the color for their Zeltbahn. That's this one. Nope. Damn it. This one? Nope. This one. This one. Yeah, it's almost like gray. This is like a Zeltbahn color. You don't want to use that for Dunkelgelb. You can't go by the name of the colors anymore. You used to be able to a long time ago, and now they just... Vallejo does a bad job of that, calling it what it is. You know, they got one color, it's called German yellow. Oh, I just painted my tank in German yellow. Yeah, that's like for the nose cone of a Messerschmitt, dude. Well, other than it being too fucking watery. What else is wood? What else is wood? What else floats in water? Now you're using it for some other stuff. Oh, I don't doubt that they changed the formulation on it, because they've changed the formulation on several different colors. I think they left black alone. The olive drab is different. I don't know why they did it. They always gotta go. They always gotta go fuck with stuff. Everybody does that. Everybody's gotta go fuck with things. So they can making things better. You make it shittier. Yeah, that brown violet I have, they don't make that anymore. This might be a little too light. Hey, mix it with black or brown. Then their tricks don't work on you. Ha ha. Yeah, Vallejo's bad about it. AK is horrible about it. But it's AK, Ammo, MiG, and all the drama in between. I'm not going to pick sides. I don't care to pick sides. There's a whole lot of drama. Drama, drama, not your mama. Let's do the metal stuff. Oh, that's not metal. That's not metal. I saw it recommended for Soviet webbing, but it's really nice to use with Iraqi dark sand and similar colors for the unwashed ancient masses and their rags. You unwashed ancient... Screw you, you unwashed ancient mass. Yeah, and your rags too. Yeah, don't forget that. Yeah, all those colors are... I had a lot of fun painting the dregs. Some of those machine guns that come on some of these tanks that are 3D printed, man, if they look like that, there's some amazing looking machine guns. You know, they got the little breathing holes and stuff in them, the cooling holes in the barrels, and just some amazing looking stuff. Like, just make it look half that good and we're good. Yeah, this looking pretty good right now. He just gets distracted by the shininess of that decal, but that'll all go away. I think you use dark yellow on your late war German vehicles as it has the same RAL number as the Dunkelgelb. Well, the AK Dunkelgelb is really weird because, like, it's got like the base color and then like the mid and the light one's useless. You call it Dunkelgelb Shine. You should have just called it white. Just cut the crap, call it white, because that's what it is. Cut the crap, call it white. All right, well, this one doesn't have black lining either. I like the way this one looks better than that one. I like this, the dustiness, the dustification. So that's what we're going to end up doing next when we continue, but we're going to cut this one off. 3 hours, so we'll see you guys on the next one where we'll pick up with the Mark IV Special. Yeah, this looks better than this one. Yep. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next one. Of course, sticky agrax ended up causing me headaches to those vehicles. Yeah, the sticky agrax is no good. No good. All right, folks, see you on the next one.